In the battle of the two best defensemen in the sport, we were promised fireworks, but so far we have gotten a full-blown shootout. It's been a track meet so far, but through all the chaos of this second round heavyweight bout, one glaring issue has emerged. Minnesota's center depth is a massive problem. When they made the blockbuster acquisition of Quinn Hughes, they pushed all the chips in to win with this current core, but in the process, they weakened an already questionable center depth. The hope was that the franchise defenseman could create enough offense from the back end to get by. Well, the playoffs are here, and with Joel Eriksson-Ek out to start the series, the Wild have easily the worst depth of any team down the middle in the playoffs, and they're matched up against the best center core I've ever seen, maybe. But this matchup has actually created some pretty interesting tactical ideas out of these two teams. Now, before the puck dropped in Game 1, the narrative was pretty clear. All season, Minnesota knew they were going to have to play Colorado to come out of the Central. What they missed down the middle, they were planning on making up for with a perceived massive advantage in net with two true number one goalies and a better back end that could grind down Colorado's smaller defensive core on the forecheck. That would be the best case scenario for Minnesota, however, because in 2026, Colorado is the undisputed king of 5v5 offense. Set a franchise record in points this season, and they loaded up at the deadline. They improved their power play, and they have some genuinely fucked offensive numbers. But Hughes versus Makar is the national storyline of this series. It's the two best defensemen in the world going toe-to-toe on live TV, see who's better. That is incredible. So far, the stats probably give the edge to Hughes. Analytically, it looks like he's doing a little bit better, but overall, it's still too early to really figure out who's a better defenseman. Now, Makar's strength this series has come from his experience. He's a playoff MVP, a silver medalist, and a 6-time Norris finalist. Watch how he picks the puck up from in front of the net, skates through traffic, and then sets a casual, not so casual interference play on Faber. He knows the ref's more focused on the play than he is a wrestling match. That slowed Faber down enough to create about 2 perfect inches for the pass, and all of a sudden, that's a super loud goal horn thanks to Cale Makar. And how about later on, Makar with the perfect stretch pass down the ice? Minnesota gives him about 10 feet of free real estate. Bad idea. And this is what Makar does so well. Colorado doesn't need to control the offense if you have a shot like this. If you can score from 40 feet out, then you don't need to create high danger looks as often. Still, Makar has the ability to take over a game completely, and he hasn't done it yet, despite Colorado being up 2-0 in the series. Now, in round 1 of this postseason, Quinn Hughes faced a disconnected and passive forecheck from Dallas, which Quinn absolutely carved. He led the playoffs in stretch passes while getting 8 points in 6 games and winning his 5v5 minutes by a landslide. It's pretty simple. If you give Quinn too much room, he's going to take advantage of the open ice. Colorado's pretty damn smart. They're pretty damn fast. They are working about as aggressive as they possibly can on the forecheck on Hughes, forcing him to defer or to make quicker decisions. The Avs have a synchronized, aggressive pack of rabid dogs that want to get the puck out of Quinn's hands by any means necessary. Through 2 games so far at even strength, Hughes has already taken 8 hits. Compared to the 10 hits total he took in the 6-game Dallas series, including a double overtime, Colorado is playing fuck you hockey. For Hughes, that drains the legs and it speeds up the internal clock, having to always anticipate a hit a second earlier. This rabid dog mindset is the philosophy that Colorado's fourth line has used all season. Play the body first, catch a felony second, ask questions third. Not only has this rambunctious playstyle been responsible for an early goal in Game 1, it's actually meant that this fourth line has won their minutes over Hughes overall. If your guys can forecheck, you might be able to slow Hughes down. Still, Hughes is the main driver of Minnesota's transition game, and despite Bednar matching the McKinnon line against Hughes, Minnesota is winning those minutes analytically. Unfortunately, everyone on that top line for Colorado is a lethal shooter, so it doesn't really matter if you win those minutes, you're still a -3, especially when your goalie is a block of Swiss cheese. It's hard to rely on a small analytical edge to win you a playoff series. Wallstedt had probably the worst game of the playoffs in Game 1, and Gustafsson hasn't been much better either. I've never been a big blame the goalie guy, but Colorado's going to get these 30-foot snapshots all game. Your goalie probably has to get a piece of it. That's a strength turned weakness for Minnesota, while Scott Wedgwood over in Colorado has been everything they need, as in he's totally fine. Colorado does not need elite goaltending to bail them out. When they're clicking, they're one of the best rush teams of all time. In this playoffs, we're seeing the full version of what this group is capable of. You look up and down the roster, and it's like an Olympic track meet. You got McKinnon, Natchez, Colton, Nishushkin, O'Connor on the front end, Makar, Malinsky down the right side on defense. They can absolutely buzz. All these guys do is haul ass and feast on loose gaps. One of the best regroup teams in the league. Colorado has really been taking advantage of Minnesota's line changes. Minnesota's going for a change. Petrie has to dump it in before he can get off the ice. Watch how McKinnon's sinking shrinking back to build up time and space. With Natchez, they can breeze through the neutral zone and create an entry, bump it over. Natchez casually tucks it in on the backhand, not a big deal. It's these little give and goes from the MacKinnon-Natchez duo that make it impossible to stop the rush offense. MacKinnon is leading the playoffs in rush shots per game, while the duo of MacKinnon and Natchez is first and third, respectively, for scoring chance contributions per game. That's fucked. The duo is carving through the neutral zone, creating sustainably quick offense, and putting Minnesota in an absolute blender. In the offensive zone, the MacKinnon line was the best line in hockey this season. I can definitely say that, putting up almost generational offensive numbers. When they're working with Makar and Taves on the ice, it becomes the hardest five-man unit to stop of any in hockey. It's constant motion, it's a spin cycle. It's like there's 11 guys on the ice and you're off a blinker. MacKinnon and Natchez have combined for 11 goddamn points through 2 games this series. But it's not just the MacKinnon line. There's a reason Colorado won 192 games in the regular season. They have more depth than any iteration of this Avs squad we've seen. It's absolutely exhausting for Minnesota. They basically have 2 second lines in their middle 6. What the fuck? Colorado is absolutely dominating the 5v5 minutes when Hughes is not on the ice, and it's from the heavy forecheck and a talent imbalance on the forward court. Now, Minnesota missing Brodin has been a killer as well. He's one of the best defensive defensemen in hockey, and replacing him with Middleton is putting a depth guy out of his element. All of a sudden, Minnesota's elite defensive group can look a bit like a liability at times. Still, Minnesota is getting more chances than Colorado in the Hughes minutes. You can make life impossible for this guy, but if he's launching the puck straight up the gut onto the tape of a Russian guy, a surprising amount of Russians on Minnesota, you're going to be in trouble. But you could argue Hughes' best asset is how he stretches and contorts your defensive structure in the offensive zone. Walking the line and getting quick shots through traffic is automatic in the playoffs, shout out Quinn Hughes, but it's not just one guy driving the offense. Minnesota's entire system relies on east-west spatial manipulation. Instead of forcing a north-south attack, they generally pass laterally once they're in the zone. Some of the best players are entering the zone and quickly moving it to the other side of the ice. They're trying to stretch Colorado's defense to its breaking point. Now, overall for Minnesota, their biggest problem has been the lack of depth on the roster. Now, despite Hughes and Faber being a minus in this series, like I said, they have been winning their minutes analytically. The problem is these two are the only 2 drivers of rush offense on this team realistically, and Minnesota's depth has been eaten alive by Colorado's. You can really see this in the lack of speed in Minnesota's forwards. Their way of creating rush offense, they have wingers blow the zone. They're just not as fast as Colorado. They want to leave the zone early so they can be a target in the neutral zone for a stretch pass, but the trade-off when you're cheating for offense is when you blow the zone or you're late to get back, you can get caught. Colorado's defensemen have more goals this series than every other defenseman of every other team combined in the second round. It's from wingers leaving the zone early and not finding their checks. Early in game 1, Minnesota tried getting more aggressive, running a 2-1-2 forecheck, but a clean pass to Natchez and Malinsky beat Kaprizov up the ice. He's a snipe. That's a goal. Kaprizov was playing for a counterattack, but that's how you get beat. Game 1, both teams went full throttle and it all turned into a game of chicken where Minnesota blinked first. That's why Minnesota slowed it down in Game 2. And honestly, it made for a lot more docile a game. But even while the game was even at 5v5, Colorado had the clear upper hand, and that's entirely due to special teams. This is going to kill Minnesota if they can't figure it out. Minnesota's got the worst penalty kill of all time through 8 playoff games. Meanwhile, their already kind of shit power play is missing Eriksson Ek in the bumper. You're 0 for 5 in the power play, Colorado's 3 for 7, Bob's your uncle, you're down 2-0 in the series. It's a pretty even matchup if you don't look at the special teams. And in contrast, Colorado's figured out how to utilize motion to their advantage on the power play, and with MacKinnon finally getting the puck luck back on his stick, it is just gravy for Colorado. They're opening up looks like these where Makar and MacKinnon are in the same passing lane. MacKinnon separates from the net front guy. If Trennan flexes out too quick, it opens up a Natchez pass low. If Sturm plays a pass low, it opens up Makar. If Middleton stays on MacKinnon, it opens up a Kadri Natchez backdoor pass. It's fucked, and that is why Colorado's power play is clicking at 43% so far against Minnesota. This will be the death of them. This series has been an absolute gong show so far, but Minnesota is not dead yet. They've played some outstanding hockey while the Great Wall of St. Paul is getting rebuilt. You're not in trouble until you lose a game at home. That being said, Colorado hasn't lost a game at home or on the road all playoffs. This series is far from over. Please let me know what you think is going to happen, and please subscribe if you get the opportunity. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.